Most people are taught a very simple idea about success. Work hard, stay busy, keep pushing, do more, sacrifice more, fill your schedule, and eventually, the rewards will come. This message is repeated almost everywhere. In school, at work, in families, in motivational speeches, in everyday conversation. Being busy is often treated like proof of seriousness, proof of ambition, proof of discipline, proof of value. And because of that, millions of people spend their lives believing that constant activity must eventually lead to financial freedom. But reality often tells a different story. Some people stay busy for years and never get ahead. Their days are full. Their energy is drained. Their calendars are packed. Their minds are overloaded. And yet their financial situation barely changes. Meanwhile, others may look less busy on the surface, but their income keeps growing. Their assets expand. Their time becomes more flexible. Their stress decreases. Their options increase. So what explains the difference? Why do some people spend their lives running, while others seem to build momentum? Why do poor people often stay busy, while the rich build systems? The answer is not laziness versus hard work. It is not intelligence versus stupidity. And it is not simply luck. The deeper answer is that busyness and wealth are not the same thing. In fact, they often point in opposite directions. Busyness is usually about immediate effort. Wealth is usually about useful structure. Busyness means doing more. Systems mean building something that keeps working even when you stop. And once you understand that distinction, you begin to see why so many people work constantly without becoming free. Because they are trapped in motion without leverage. They are producing effort without building engines. They are solving today again and again without creating something that solves tomorrow. That is the real trap. And that is exactly what we are going to break down in this video. We are going to explore why poor people often stay locked in busyness while the rich focus on systems. We will talk about the trap of hourly effort, why survival creates constant activity, why systems create scale, why ownership matters more than exhaustion, and why the person who looks busiest is often not the one becoming wealthiest. Because once you understand this, one of the biggest myths about money begins to collapse. The goal is not to stay busy forever. The goal is to build something that eventually makes busyness less necessary. Let's begin with the first reason. The first reason poor people stay busy is that poverty creates urgency. When money is tight, everything becomes immediate. Bills are immediate. Rent is immediate. Food is immediate. Repairs are immediate. Debt payments are immediate. Unexpected problems are immediate. And because of that, attention gets pulled toward what must be handled now. That is completely understandable. When someone is under financial pressure, long-term strategy often feels like a luxury. The person is not asking, how do I build a system that pays me in 5 years? They are asking, how do I get through this week? That pressure creates a form of reactive living. The person becomes highly active, but not necessarily strategic. They respond, they patch, they rush, they solve, they repeat. And because urgent problems keep reappearing, busyness becomes permanent. This is one of the hidden tragedies of financial stress. It consumes the exact mental space needed for long-term planning. The wealthy are not always less hardworking, but once they have enough margin, they can think beyond the immediate. They can ask better questions. How do I reduce repetition? How do I create leverage? How do I stop solving the same problem manually? How do I build something that continues working? Those questions are hard to ask when survival is screaming. And that is why poverty often creates movement without escape. The second reason poor people stay busy is that they usually sell time instead of owning systems. For most people with low or fragile income, money comes only when they personally do something. They work a shift. They complete a task. They drive somewhere. They answer calls. They perform labor. They trade hours for income. Again, there is nothing shameful about this. Honest work matters, but there is a structural problem built into this model. If income depends directly on time, then income stops when the person stops. There is no engine, no asset, no built-in momentum, only continued effort. This means rest becomes dangerous. Illness becomes dangerous. Time off becomes expensive, and every month starts from zero again. The wealthy try to escape this model over time. They may begin by working hard too, but eventually they aim to own something that keeps producing. A business, a digital product, a brand, a property, an investment portfolio, a distribution channel, a media platform, a system. That system may require major effort to create, but once it exists, it can continue generating value without demanding the exact same amount of labor every single day. That is one of the biggest differences between being busy and being free. The busy person must keep pushing. The system owner can eventually start directing instead of only doing. The third reason poor people stay busy is that they often confuse hard work with progress. This confusion is deeply rooted in culture. People are praised for effort, for sacrifice, for exhaustion, for how much they carry, for how much they endure. And while effort matters, effort alone does not guarantee movement. A person can work incredibly hard and still be stuck in a loop. Because progress is not just about effort. It is about whether the effort creates something that accumulates. Does today's work make tomorrow easier? Does it create an asset? Does it produce leverage? Does it build a repeatable advantage? If the answer is no, then the person may be working hard without building upward momentum. This is why some people remain financially flat, despite being among the hardest workers in society. Their work creates income, but not accumulation. They are admirable, but admiration does not automatically become wealth. The wealthy often focus less on how intense the effort looks, and more on what the effort produces over time. One system that works repeatedly can outperform years of scattered hard work. That is a difficult truth, but it is one of the most important in finance. The fourth reason poor people stay busy is that they are often trapped in tasks, while the rich focus on processes. A task is something you do once. A process is something designed to happen repeatedly with structure. Poor and financially stressed people often live in task mode. Handle this bill. Answer this message. Fix this issue. Take this shift. Solve this problem. Do this errand. Respond to this emergency. This creates a fragmented life, a life made of interruptions, a life where energy is constantly spent restarting. The rich tend to become obsessed with process. How can this be standardized? Automated? Delegated? Scheduled better? Turned into a repeatable machine? That mindset changes everything, because processes reduce chaos, and once chaos is reduced, scale becomes possible. This is why wealthy builders often spend a lot of time on things that look indirect. Documentation, automation, hiring, templates, systems, tools, optimization. These things may not look glamorous, but they reduce future labor, and reduced future labor is one of the foundations of freedom. The fifth reason poor people stay busy is that they are often rewarded only for output, not for design. This is another major difference. Many people are paid to execute, to produce, to deliver, to complete, to serve. That makes them valuable, but it does not necessarily make them powerful. Because the person who executes is often replaceable. The person who designs the machine has a different kind of leverage. The designer of the system decides how value flows, where profit goes, how tasks are organized, how time is used, what gets repeated, what gets improved. The wealthy are often closer to design than to raw execution. Not always at first, but increasingly over time. They ask not only, how do we work harder, but how do we make this work better? That question is worth enormous amounts of money, because improving structure multiplies output across time. A single design improvement can remove hundreds of hours of future labor. A single better system can increase income without increasing exhaustion. The poor are often too trapped in execution to step back and redesign. That is not a character flaw. It is a structural consequence of pressure, but it explains why busyness stays high while financial progress stays low. The sixth reason poor people stay busy is that scarcity makes people solve symptoms instead of causes. When life is pressured, symptom solving becomes normal. The person treats the current emergency, not the deeper pattern. The car is repaired, but transportation strategy is not reconsidered. The debt payment is made, but the debt habit is not redesigned. The extra shift is worked, but the income structure is not changed. The problem is handled, but the system generating the problem remains untouched. This creates endless repetition, and endless repetition is exhausting. The wealthy often spend more time trying to eliminate the source of recurring friction. They ask, why does this keep happening? What mechanism is causing this? How do I solve this once, in a way that keeps solving itself? That is systems thinking. And systems thinking changes outcomes dramatically, because people do not become freer only by solving more problems. They become freer by solving categories of problems at the root. The seventh reason poor people stay busy is that they often have no margin for experimentation. This point is extremely important. Systems are rarely built perfectly the first time. A business model may need testing. An investment plan may need adjustment. A content strategy may need repetition. A product may need iteration. But experimentation requires room. Room for mistakes. Room for imperfect results. Room for temporary inefficiency. People under financial pressure often do not have that room. So they choose what is immediate and certain. The next shift, the guaranteed payment, the familiar task. This makes sense, but it also creates a ceiling, because large upside often comes through experimentation. The wealthy usually have more capacity to test, fail, refine, and try again. That does not make them automatically better. It gives them more strategic options. And options matter, because systems often emerge through repeated testing, not through perfect planning. The eighth reason poor people stay busy is that they are often surrounded by people who also normalize busyness. Environment shapes financial thinking more than most people realize. If everyone around someone is constantly exhausted, overworked, under pressure, and trapped in immediate survival, that begins to feel normal. Busyness becomes identity. It becomes morality. It becomes proof that the person is doing everything they can. And in a social environment like that, systems thinking can almost sound unrealistic, too slow, too risky, too abstract, too uncertain. So the person keeps doing what everyone around them respects, staying active, staying tired, staying urgent. The wealthy often move in circles where leverage is discussed more than labor, ownership more than shifts, scale more than survival. This changes the questions people ask. And better questions create different futures. If your environment only praises effort, you may never learn to value system design. If your environment values structure, ownership, and leverage, busyness starts to look less impressive. The ninth reason poor people stay busy is emotional. Being busy can create the feeling of control. This is important to understand. When life feels unstable, activity can feel reassuring. At least I am doing something. At least I am moving. At least I am trying. At least I am handling things. And emotionally, that can become addictive. Because stillness feels dangerous. Reflection feels uncomfortable. Stepping back feels irresponsible. But many of the most important wealth decisions require stepping back, thinking, reviewing, planning, measuring, saying no, removing, automating, delegating, building. These are not always emotionally exciting actions. They may even feel slower than constant motion, but they create more freedom in the long run. The wealthy often learn that not every problem should be met with more activity. Sometimes the highest value move is not doing more. It is building a smarter structure. The 10th reason poor people stay busy is that they often underestimate the value of repeated small systems. When people hear the word system, they imagine something huge. A company, a giant machine, a complex operation. But systems can begin very small. An automatic savings transfer, a weekly financial review, a fixed investing habit, a content schedule, a standard sales process, a recurring client model, a documented workflow, a budget with rules that reduce decision fatigue. These things seem simple, sometimes almost boring, but that is exactly why they matter. Small systems reduce dependence on mood, memory, and daily willpower. They create consistency, and consistency compounds. The wealthy often understand that freedom is not created only through giant breakthroughs. It is built through repeatable structure layered over time. The poor often miss this because they are looking for immediate relief, not slow reinforcement. The 11th reason poor people stay busy is that they rarely benefit from scale. Scale means one effort reaching many results, one product serving many people, one message reaching thousands, one process handling repeated demand, one asset producing income over and over. This is where wealth often accelerates, because scale breaks the direct relationship between time and earnings. A person can work once and get paid multiple times, or build once and benefit repeatedly, or create one distribution system that keeps delivering value. Poor people rarely operate in environments where scale is available to them immediately. Their work is local, direct, manual, temporary. The wealthy often become obsessed with scale because scale creates disproportionate upside. It turns effort into multiplication, and multiplication is one of the hidden languages of wealth. The 12th reason poor people stay busy is that they are often punished for stopping. This is something financially secure people do not always understand. If a poor person slows down, consequences come fast. Bills are missed. Stress increases. Instability grows. That means constant effort becomes mandatory. Not strategic, mandatory. And when effort is mandatory, the person has less power to redesign life. This creates a painful loop. They need more time to think, but cannot stop working. They need more margin to build, but cannot create margin without more time. The rich, once they reach a certain level, are less punished by temporary pauses. Their systems keep running. Their assets keep producing. Their capital keeps existing. That difference matters enormously, because the ability to pause is not just comfort, it is strategic power. The 13th reason poor people stay busy is that they are trained to be useful, not free. This idea starts early. Do your work. Be reliable. Stay occupied. Contribute. Do not waste time. Stay productive. These lessons create discipline, which can be valuable, but they do not automatically create independence. A person can become extremely useful to employers, clients, institutions, and other people's systems, while never becoming free themselves. The wealthy often aim beyond usefulness. They aim for control, ownership, optionality, systems that reduce dependence. That is a very different target, and targets shape behavior. If your goal is to be seen as hardworking, you may stay busy forever. If your goal is to become free, you eventually start asking how to reduce dependency through systems. The 14th reason poor people stay busy is that they often do not believe systems are for them. This is psychological, but powerful. Many people unconsciously believe that systems, assets, leverage, and scalable income are things other people build. People with money, people with connections, people with special talent, people who got lucky. So they do not even begin thinking that way. They default to effort, because effort feels familiar and morally safe. But the moment someone starts believing they can build even a small system, a different future becomes possible. A side offer, A small audience, a recurring service, an investment habit, a repeatable client acquisition process, a digital product, a rental strategy, a documented operation. It may start modestly, but modest systems can grow. The wealthy are not always richer because they started huge. They are often richer because they started building structures earlier. The 15th reason poor people stay busy is that systems usually look slower at first. This is one of the biggest reasons people abandon them too early. Busyness produces immediate visible effort. You feel active. You see movement. You can point to what you did today. Systems often feel different. You may spend hours building something that produces nothing immediately. Writing the process, creating the offer, setting up the automation, learning the tool, making the first asset, designing the workflow. The result is delayed, and many people stop there because delayed payoff is emotionally difficult. But this is exactly where the wealthy gain an advantage. They are often willing to endure a period where effort is front-loaded and visible rewards are small, because they understand that once the system starts working, the relationship between effort and reward changes. That is the turning point. Not more busyness, better structure. Now, none of this means poor people are failing because they are weak. That would be a shallow reading of the problem. Many poor people are among the most resilient, hardworking, and resourceful people in society. The real issue is that hard work without leverage has limits. Activity without accumulation has limits. Effort without ownership has limits. And if someone is never given the space, education, or belief needed to build systems, busyness can become a life sentence. But the encouraging part is this: systems thinking can be learned. Not all at once, not magically, but gradually. A person can start asking different questions. What am I doing repeatedly that should be simplified? What part of my income depends only on my time? What could be automated? What could become recurring? What asset could I begin building? What process could reduce future stress? These questions change the game, because they move the mind from surviving the day to shaping the structure of the future. And that is where wealth begins. Not only with more effort, but with more design, more ownership, more leverage, more repetition working in your favor. The person who stays busiest is not always the one becoming richest. Sometimes the richest person is the one who quietly spent years building systems while everyone else kept sprinting. That is the difference. One life depends on constant motion. The other becomes stronger through structure. And if you understand that early enough, you stop worshiping busyness and start building things that can actually set you free. If you want more videos about wealth, money, psychology, systems, and long-term financial freedom, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell. And in the comments, answer this: what do you think keeps most people trapped the longest? Survival pressure, selling time, lack of ownership, or not thinking in systems? Because once you stop confusing busyness with progress, your financial future can start changing for real.